and CEO and co-founder. We are live downtown at the Turk's Head building, and we are zooming across the city over to Josh Cullion over at Mott and Chace. Josh, thanks so much for joining us.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me, Josh.
I don't want to miss an appearance, but a few months ago you came on. You were launching the Custom House Condominiums, a beautiful, historic, super iconic building in downtown Providence. 11 new condominium units, and that was just a few months ago. Functionally, the property is now sold out, correct?
100%, absolutely correct. It's been gangbusters, and just super grateful and blessed to be part of the project and to sell out all units essentially at full asking price. It was faster than we anticipated, and we're super elated about that. And it's another, like you said, iconic building in the city that is now occupied. Those individual unit owners get to enjoy being residents downtown and everything it has to offer.
It is a remarkably beautiful build out. I looked at all the pictures. Sometimes these things are done exceptionally well, as this one was, and sometimes they're not so exceptionally well done. This was in the top 1%. Was that part of the key, that the finish on these units were so strong that it really moved buyers?
1,000,000%. It made, it kind of sold itself. It made the job a little bit easier, and I think the most difficult aspect of it for a buyer was, at a certain point in time, is which unit. When we first unrolled the units, all 11, and it was kind of, sometimes you get a little bit of menu envy, or which one,
There was a lot to be envious of. What does it say, the speed in which that sold out? New property, these units hadn't been lived in before, so you always have a question when something is new to the marketplace. What does it tell you about sort of the overall trend of, let's just talk about the condominium market here in Rhode Island and especially in Providence? What does it say about the tightness or the gravitas of the industry?
I think it speaks volumes, on many levels, and without boasting, including myself, and kind of being intimately involved with the downtown condo market sector, amongst other areas in the business. But knowing the neighborhood, knowing the amenities, the types of establishments and businesses that are, popping up there, and the sense of community that it's really starting to become more and more. It's been a work in progress over the years, but it's fantastic to see.
Yeah, we were down here last night. Bellini was busy, Leali was busy, Circe was packed. I mean, sort of all the restaurants right down adjacent to where Custom House is were just bustling.
Josh, and you're right at the waterfront. Don't forget, a block and a half away is the river, and soon, that's the water fire events, and it's an enjoyable walk. There's a lot of green spaces and sites, and I love the city horizon and vantage point you get when you're walking along the river, looking back downtown, and of course on the east side as well, looking back towards the historic College Hill area. It's gorgeous.
So, great city. As we all know, shall we say, inventory is tight in Rhode Island. Not many for sale signs up. Very few of those fancy balloons tied to the open house signs. Give us some sense, if you've got numbers, on where we are right now in the different segments.
Yeah, sure. No, tight is right. It's bleak out there right now as far as inventory. That's kind of common knowledge at the moment, or I'll say it's been that way for a while. Condo market sector right now for sale as of today, and we're going to do macro level metrics here for all the viewers. In the state of Rhode Island, you're looking at 171 condos available for sale as of today. That's super low. Certainly, I think a few hundred more are pending sales. Single family market sector, just over, I think it's about 653 units. houses, to be exact, are currently for sale. About 1,200 single-family houses are currently under contract, pending sales. And the multifamily market sector, I had 93 units.
How many?
93 in the multifamily. So what does that all equate to? It's about an average about a month and a half supply as far as the absorption rate, super low, and it's not of course a balanced market, and there's still a lot of multiple offers going on in all three sectors. It's a wild, erratic kind of market right now. It's interesting, and it'll of course fall into place and sort itself out. I'm confident of that. When? That's the crystal ball question.
Yeah, the next 5 or 10 years, I'm feeling it. Josh, just adding up these numbers in my head, we're talking about 1,000 at the height of the spring selling season. There's only 1,000 properties for sale in Rhode Island. We've got about 1.1 plus 1.2 million people in the state, and there's only 1,000 pieces of properties, multifamily, single family, or condominiums.
It's incredible. It's incredible. I have, I've got a couple of buyer clients coming in this week. One coming in to relocate for their residency, and we're looking at condos, and we're trying to look at condos, but I've told them it's going to be short and sweet, and trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat. So I've done that before, so we'll see. We'll see how everything kind of evolves, and something's going to give at some point. But I can sell. The sellers right now.
Yeah.
There's a chance of selling just fine. It's just where are we going to move to? So it's kind of created a little bit of a backlog, traffic jam, if you would.
Have you thought about going back to the folks that you sold the units to at Custom House and asking if they want to rent out a room or a closet or?
I like the creativity. Maybe the storage unit in the lower level. I don't know. Yeah, something along those lines. It's getting to that point. It makes you more creative. And that's it's par for the course right now with the market the way it is. You gotta get really creative and dynamic on finding something for your client. It's incredible.
Josh, walk us through. You've got somebody who's coming to do their medical residency. Proverbially, they've got cash in hand, in their pocket. This isn't a person. They're going to go on to great fame and fortune. You're building a relationship with them. They come into the market. You know where everything is as well, or better than anybody else in the real estate market. What's that conversation you have with them?
Appreciate that. It's I laser focus and take it extra steps further to kind of put them in the best position possible. And tomorrow is a perfect example of one of the clients I have coming in from out of state, and the list is short and sweet. There's a couple options publicly, officially available for sale. I've actually made some calls to some previous clients who own condos, and luck would have it, there's one other off-market option that potentially could be something for the client to consider. And I also had that conversation with them in advance to set the expectation level to say, look, you're not buying something to buy it. That's not the agenda here. Hopefully, maybe you get the warm, fuzzy feeling with one of the few that are available, and if not, there's the opportunity, of course, to potentially rent for a year, and we can kind of closely monitor the market as they settle in and find something. It's just a timing matter, right? So, that's essentially the safety net at the end of the day.
Are you surprised? And I don't know the economics of it all. I know that when something gets federal and state historic tax credits, they have to wait. If they're building out apartments, they have to operate it for 5 years as an apartment before converting it to condos. But I'm somewhat surprised that more of the apartment inventory, and I know they're pretty much full up and they're getting great rents, but none of those have converted. Are you a little surprised on that front?
I am slightly. At the end of the day, it's a numbers game for the owner investor of a larger apartment building, and Sometimes the rents certainly don't validate um, unloading and selling, but Custom House is a perfect example, and there's been a couple other buildings, I can't get into at the moment that, I'm starting to have that conversation. I think other building owners out there downtown here in Providence have recognized, the type of numbers they could command, and they're looking at the Custom House as a perfect example. Like, well, I could liquidate here and cash out, and it's a win-win.
Right.
So hopefully more of that gains traction. But I definitely appreciate that question, because it's something that would certainly help absorb, the demand and build up the inventory.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that unit that used to be $300,000 is now $600,000.
In some cases, 1,000,000%. And and if there's demand and the value's there and there's a buyer, I mean, how could you not consider that?
Yeah, absolutely. It is remarkable. Do you see anything percolating going in any new directions? I mean, if you sort of, you can go crazy. Listen to Squawk Box in the morning, read the Wall Street Journal, look at all the data in Rhode Island, National Realtors Association economists. You take all this in, it doesn't look like there's going to be any let up in demand, any let up in interest rates. And if anything, if you kind of step back a little bit, you go, we're in this mess for 24 months, maybe longer.
Based on the stats, I don't disagree. It's going to sort of be, it's like after having major surgery. It's just kind of going to be a long recovery period, slow and steady. And, I think the blessing there is it's not a nosedive downward. Right. And sometimes it's easy to kind of mentally relate to that or say, okay, what was the last market correction? And, you go back to 07, 08 with the financial crisis. And, it's sometimes easy for people to kind of get into that mindset, like, oh, it's going to drop. And that's not necessarily the case. I think it's just the new sign of the times. It's going to be something slowly progresses back to getting an absorption rate that's 6-month healthy supply, and the numbers can stabilize a bit. I think the numbers have stabilized a little bit as far as property values to a certain extent. They're not getting absurdly, these multiple offers aren't going way, way over. They're still out there. They're still up there, but not as crazy as last year, the year before.
Josh, you get the last word. I'm a buyer, like who you've got coming in tomorrow. I'm looking around. Listen, I'm not looking for that $1.2 million East Side home. I'm looking for a condo. I want to get some equity. I want to invest in myself. I don't want to just rent. What's your suggestions to that condo seeker coming into the market?
The alternative could be the 2-unit multifamily that might be similar price to a larger condo that they might be considering. And that's the conversation where, the icing on the cake is you can rent out the second unit. It's, covers your bases, and the upkeep is, I'd like to think, nominal, relative to the property upkeep. It lives like a condo, but you've got another neighbor, and you're collecting rent, right? So there's the silver lining, and that's been part of the conversation as well, as long as that said applicant, that buyer's price point allows for it, as far as where the multi-property family, the multifamily property values are. It's first-time condo buyer, Josh, might not be legitimately able to pull the trigger on a multifamily, and that's where you start talking about, you just shift gears and maybe you rent for the year as much as they might not want to, but that will help them get a little bit more acclimated, fall more in love with the city, and have a better idea of maybe where they want to be outside of what we've looked at as far as the neighborhoods and different locations. So that's usually the sigh of relief comes in, for a buyer when that's an option. So.
And rosary beads. Josh Cullion from Mott Chace, congratulations on all the success you've had at Custom House. A great project, and it's great to see that that's fully sold out, all 11 units, really beautiful piece of architecture. So kudos to you on that. For everybody else, stay tuned. There is a lot going on, and GoLocal is all over the place today. We'll have updates on a host of fronts, big announcements coming on later today. So stay tuned. We'll keep you updated throughout the day and into the night. Everybody stay safe. The weather looks great this afternoon. Get out there and enjoy it. A little rain the rest of the week it's looking like. But for everybody, stay safe. Thanks for tuning in.